Hi everybody, it's Peter Bird here from Optimal Nutritional Excellence. I'd like to introduce you to Tom. Tom's in his early 70s. He's had an extensive history of heart disease. He came to me at Optimal Nutritional Excellence about 4 months ago, suffering from ongoing chest pain, angina. His life was restricted to pretty much being in a chair and just being able to walk around his yard. So here's Tom's story.
I've spent most of my life turning nuts and bolts. I'm a mechanic. I was a mechanic. And became aware nearly at the end of my working life of around about 65, that I had a heart problem. I had some heart issues. The first thing that happened was a visit to the cardiac department at the hospital and a stent, which I thought was wonderful because pain that was bothering me on my walking program was getting on my wick a bit. Stent only kept the pain away for a fairly short time, 2-3 years, but very predictably returned, which finished up with another visit to the cardiac department. I asked, did I have another stent? And they said, no, you're a good candidate for Wellington and a bypass, which was a bit surprising because I'd never even had a heart attack at that stage, and then followed soon after that with a bypass. After the bypass, I wanted to get back walking. I was really enjoying walking early in the morning and had a regular track that I could time easily. It was around about 5Ks. A really good thing about having the bypass was that I could push myself quite a bit and test myself. I had a set of stairs to get up, and I could push myself up the stairs till I couldn't breathe, but with not a scrap of pain, which I thought was just wonderful. I hadn't had that ever. That stayed for 5-6 years, I suppose, and then niggly little pain back again. And I'm thinking, hey ho, I've had this all before. Then a series of stress tests. I think I had 3 stress tests, and then the reports that I got back from them on paper. First one, I can remember reading it and thinking they were talking about somebody completely different. It wasn't me they were talking about. Grossly obese and pre-diabetic, which is probably all true. I didn't see myself like that at all. But no mention of the story that I'd told them about the pain. And it was like, go home and just take more pills was the way around it. And it wasn't the way around it because the pain stayed and the pain reoccurred. I wasn't very happy about not being able to walk. I thought that was a fairly minimal requirement. I've been attending the same medical practice pretty much since I was at school. And the first few doctors I had for years. But in later times, doctors are changing very fast. And I got to the point where my last serious long-term doctor would look like a school kid. Anyway, he was the one who enthusiastically started telling me about a book called Undo It. Pulled it out of the library and found it was pretty radical. So I bought a book of my own. Decided not to embrace it myself because it was all about veganism, and I like eating. I like cooking. I like doing my own thing. And there's plenty of people around that'll eat my food. So that wasn't the way I wanted to go. I started taking notice because my daughter started working for a bloke who's a bit keen on this. I would call him a plant food nutter, but that's all right. He didn't seem to mind. Peter Bird. This whole science was very foreign to me with Peter's guidance and realising that my schoolboy doctor wasn't as loopy as I thought he was. So I started taking this a little bit more seriously, very reluctantly giving up some of the really favourite foods. Stepped away from dairy, stepped away from meat. Believe it or not, actually had to start trying to cook without oils, which I thought was the strangest, weirdest thing you'd want to do. It is possible. It's a whole practice that I had to get used to. Things did start changing. My blood pressure plummeted down a bit. My cholesterol changed drastically. Peter was measuring it each week. Then he said, I can't measure it anymore because I can't find it. It's been measured since by other people. They step back and take a bit of a funny look at it too because they said it's unusually low. And the other pretty cool thing was I've been 120 odd K, but I've lost, by my estimation, probably 11K. Got back to walking. Walking's changed. Chest pain's faded away. There's been quite a few changes in the tablet parade. The introduction of things like kale, which I once saw a bloke try to feed to a cattle beast, and the cattle beast didn't want it, so I figured that I didn't want it either. quite good things you can do to it to make it very edible. Being able to get back into walking, which is it's pretty cool, and that's in an early stage. My heart's still a bit of a mystery to me. Some of the things that were supposedly wrong with it, I'd never even noticed. It's not until you get a wait a minute, like a pain or a strange heart rhythm, that you're even aware that there's something wrong, which is a little bit scary. I'm not getting chest pain anymore. That's my happiest moment. Yeah, well, it's pretty obvious that the elephant in the room is the fact that you're eating the wrong food. You're chowing down on stuff that's stopping your body working. You think you're healthy, you feel okay, but you are generally plugging up a perfectly good design by putting the wrong fuel into the motor. There's no way I'm going back to where I was. That just isn't going to happen. I was having a love affair with food for years, and I loved meat. I loved those nice flavours. I've never been a sweet nut, but I love savoury. I've got the reason I've got to make this a lifestyle is because I've got to be able to get this food producible by me and easy to produce and easy to share with other people, because that's another hassle that I find. I don't want to be a freak, and I don't want to be too awkward to be entertained by other people. The answer is a lot closer than you think it is. Change your food, change your intake. This way of eating and way of feeling good is too good to ignore. It's too much of a treasure to have your health. I'm going to make it possible.